Opening disclaimer/intro. Before we get into this video, I want to make something clear. Everything I talk about today is backed by evidence, photos, screenshots, emails, financial records, and official documents. To keep the story flowing, I'll walk you through the timeline first. Then, at the end of the video, I'll show you the evidence so you can see it all for yourself. Nothing here is speculation. These are documented facts, and they deserve to be heard. This is the story of Kinsley Estep, a young woman from Portsmouth, Ohio, who endured years of abuse and neglect, not only from her adoptive mother, Tequila Marie Estep, but from an entire system that was supposed to protect her. It's a story about how corruption in a small town silenced a survivor and allowed abuse to continue unchecked. Part 1. Who is Tequila Estep? To understand this case, we need to start with Tequila Marie Estep. Tequila is a probation officer in Portsmouth, Ohio. That title carries a lot of weight in a small town. It means she works directly with the courts, with judges, with law enforcement. She has influence, but her history tells a different story. Back in December 2011, Tequila Estep was arrested in Scioto County during a traffic stop. Deputies discovered heroin, methadone pills, syringes, snorting straws, spoons, and even a suspected crack pipe inside the vehicle. Even worse, a 7-year-old child was present. This was reported by WOUB News, and it's one of the earliest public records showing her involvement in drugs and child endangerment. You would think something like this would prevent her from ever holding a position of authority. But instead, years later, she became a probation officer. That's the foundation of this story. Someone with a criminal background ends up in a position of power. And from there, the cover-ups begin. Part 2. Kinsley's adoption and early abuse. After her biological mother, Brandy Dawn Estep Smith, lost custody due to child neglect and an overdose incident involving one of her children, Kinsley was placed in foster care. She spent 8 years in the system before being adopted by Tequila Estep. At first glance, it might have looked like stability, but behind closed doors, the reality was abuse and control. Evidence from screenshots and testimony shows that Kinsley was financially exploited, forced to hand over her paychecks to Tequila and other adults in the home, threatened. If she didn't comply, she would have her phone taken, be grounded, or even physically assaulted. Neglected, left without adequate food, despite the family receiving county assistance, forced into unsafe environments, including being left around Scioto Estep, an uncle with documented mental instability, who had previously escaped from the nut house, according to messages. Screenshots show Kinsley literally begging for help, writing help, and saying she hated her environment. This wasn't just neglect, this was coercion, financial abuse, and emotional trauma. Part 3. The evidence of neglect. Let's talk about the photos. Multiple pictures from inside the home show unsafe, unsanitary living conditions. A mattress with no bedding, surrounded by trash and food containers. A litter box overflowing with feces, creating a biohazard. A kitchen filled with dirty dishes, rotting food, and stained counters. Piles of unwashed clothes scattered across the floors. This wasn't an accident. This was the day-to-day environment Kinsley was forced to live in. Add to that the digital evidence, screenshots of conversations where Tequila demanded that chores be done perfectly, threatening punishment if even a single dish was dirty. One message reads, "Tomorrow morning, counters need to be washed, dishes need to be done, floor swept and mopped before you go to work. If the dishes aren't clean this time, you're gonna redo all of them." This was less about parenting and more about domination and control. Part 4. Financial exploitation. Now let's look at the financial evidence. Screenshots from Kinsley's bank account showed direct deposits from her job, followed almost immediately by large cash withdrawals. In one case, her payroll deposit of $381.28 was taken out in cash, leaving her with just $2.88 in her account. She was forced to hand over nearly all her wages to cover bills that should have already been supported by county assistance. This wasn't just bad parenting. This was financial abuse, documented in bank records. Part 5. The runaway incident. May 2025. By May 2025, Kinsley couldn't take it anymore. She ran away from home, desperate to escape the abuse. But instead of investigating her claims, Portsmouth police minimized her situation and returned her to the same unsafe environment. It didn't matter that she had screenshots, financial records, and photos. It didn't matter that she had been making reports for years. What mattered was that her abuser was a probation officer, someone connected, someone the system wanted to protect. Part 6. Escalation to the Attorney General. Kinsley didn't stop. On May 23, 2025, a complaint was submitted to the Ohio Attorney General's office. It was acknowledged. We have the confirmation email, reference number 16937322097, and even a missing person poster that was generated when she fled. But acknowledgement wasn't enough. The AG's office didn't intervene. CPS didn't step in. Local detectives shrugged it off. Time and time again, the system ignored her while protecting Tequila Estep's reputation. Part 7. The Pattern of Corruption. This isn't just one bad household, this is systemic. Law enforcement failed to act, even with evidence in hand. CPS neglected their duty to protect. Judges and court officials allowed conflicts of interest to override justice. All of it points to a network of corruption in Portsmouth, Ohio, where who you know is more important than what you've done. And in this case, that corruption left a survivor trapped in abuse far longer than she should have been. Conclusion. This is what happens when systems meant to protect the vulnerable instead protect themselves. Kinsley's story is heartbreaking, but it's not unique. There are countless others who get silenced in small towns, just like Portsmouth, where corruption thrives because nobody is watching. But today, people are watching, and the evidence is undeniable. End disclaimer. As promised, all of the evidence mentioned in this video, the photos, screenshots, financial records, official documents, and the 2011 WOUB article will be shown now, unedited, so you can see it for yourself. Viewer discretion is advised.